They say you can't hear anything when you're in a coma. They're wrong. I heard every word. Every laugh. Every plan to sell my baby. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and for 29 days I was trapped inside my own body, declared dead by the hospital, but very much alive. And in those 29 days, I learned the truth about the man I married, the family I trusted, and the mistress who wanted to erase me from existence. This is the story of how I came back from the dead to reclaim everything they tried to steal. But before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because you won't want to miss how this story ends. Trust me, October 15th started like any other day. I was 38 weeks pregnant with twins, a fact we'd only discovered at my last ultrasound, just 2 weeks earlier. My husband, James, had seemed shocked by the news. Looking back now, I realize it wasn't the good kind of shock. The contractions started around noon while I was folding laundry in our Boston townhouse. James was at work, or so I thought. I called him 3 times before he finally answered, his voice tight with irritation. "Sarah, I'm in a meeting." "The babies are coming," I said, gripping the back of the couch as another contraction rippled through me. A pause. Then, "I'll be there in 20 minutes. He arrived in 45, smelling like perfume that wasn't mine. But I was too focused on breathing through the pain to care. The drive to Massachusetts General Hospital was silent except for my occasional gasps. James kept checking his phone at red lights. "Who are you texting?" I asked between contractions. "My mother. She'll want to know. Victoria Mitchell." My mother-in-law had never liked me. I wasn't from the right family, didn't have the right connections. But surely, the birth of her grandchildren would change things. Wouldn't it? Labor progressed fast. Too fast. By 6 p.m., I was fully dilated and pushing. But something was wrong. The monitors started beeping urgently. Nurses rushed in. I heard words like distress and emergency C-section, and prep the or now. The last thing I remember clearly was a doctor's face above mine, her eyes worried behind her surgical mask. Then James's hand pulling away from mine as they wheeled me away. Not following. Not fighting to stay with me. Just letting go. Dying feels like drowning in slow motion. That's what I thought was happening when the darkness came. I could hear the medical team shouting, feel the pressure of hands on my body, sense the frantic energy in the operating room. Then gradually, it all faded to a distant murmur, like listening to the world from underwater. But I didn't die. Not completely. What they call a coma, I call a prison. I was locked inside my own body, unable to move, unable to speak, unable to open my eyes. But I could hear. Oh God, I could hear everything. The first voice I recognized was Dr. Patricia Chun. No, wait, her name was Dr. Patricia Flores. She was speaking in that careful, measured tone doctors use when delivering bad news. "Mr. Mitchell, I'm so sorry. We did everything we could, but your wife lost too much blood. We managed to deliver the first baby, a healthy boy, but your wife went into cardiac arrest. We revived her, but she's not responsive. The second baby is still in utero, but we need to operate immediately." James's response came after a long pause. "Do what you have to do for the babies. Not save my wife. Not please, there must be something you can do. Just the babies." I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell them I was still here, still fighting. But my body was a tomb, and I was buried alive inside it. I heard the whir of surgical equipment. Felt the distant pressure of incisions I couldn't feel properly. And then, a sound that made my trapped consciousness surge with desperate love, a baby's cry. My second child. Another voice in the world that I might never get to speak to. Dr. Flores again. Another boy. "Both babies are healthy, Mr. Mitchell." Remarkably so, given the circumstances. And Sarah, this was a new voice. Female. Young. Trembling with something that wasn't quite grief. Who was this woman, and why was she in my operating room? "Mrs. Mitchell's brain activity is minimal," Dr. Flores said. "She's in what we call a persistent vegetative state. I'm so very sorry. We'll move her to the ICU and monitor her, but you should prepare yourselves." "So she's basically brain dead?" The young woman's voice again. "And was that? Hope I heard in it." "Not legally," Dr. Flores said firmly. "And while her prognosis is poor, we've seen unexpected recoveries. The next 72 hours will be critical." James finally spoke. His voice was flat, emotionless. "Can I see the babies?" "Not can I see my wife. The babies." They moved me to the ICU on the 3rd floor. I know because I heard the elevator dings, counted them. Heard the nurses discussing room assignments. Heard the ventilator they hooked me up to, breathing for my uncooperative lungs. And then the visitors started coming. Victoria Mitchell arrived first, her heels clicking on the linoleum like a countdown to execution. She stood beside my bed. I could smell her expensive perfume, feel the displacement of air as she moved. "Well," she said to someone else in the room. "At least the children are healthy. Mitchell blood is strong." "Mother, please." James's voice weary. "Oh, don't mother please me. You know I never approved of this marriage. That girl trapped you with this pregnancy, and now look where we are." "Trapped him?" "We'd been trying for 3 years. We'd been married for 5. But I couldn't correct her. Couldn't defend myself." "The babies need me," James said. "I should get back to the nursery." "You should also call Eleanor," Victoria said. "She's been worried sick about you." "Eleanor? Who the hell was Eleanor?" Their footsteps receded. I was alone with the beeping monitors and the whoosh of the ventilator. Alone with the growing horror of what I was beginning to understand. The next visitor arrived around midnight. I could tell by the shift change, nurses greeting the night staff. This person wore different shoes. Softer. Sneakers, maybe. And moved with a lighter step. She came close to my bed. I felt breath on my face as she leaned over me. "So you're the great Sarah Mitchell," she whispered. "The woman who had everything. The brownstone in Beacon Hill. The Harvard-educated husband. The picture-perfect life." She paused. I heard her pick something up. My chart, maybe. "Well, not so perfect now, is it? James told me all about you, you know. How you were never really the woman he wanted. How he only married you because you seemed safe. Stable. Good breeding stock for the Mitchell heir." My trapped heart would have been racing if it could. This had to be Eleanor. This had to be the mistress. "He loves me," she continued, her voice sugary sweet. "We've been together for 2 years. 2 beautiful years while you were playing happy homemaker. And now, with you out of the picture, we can finally be together. He's just waiting a respectful amount of time before letting you go. Letting me go. Pulling the plug. Murdering me while I was conscious enough to know it was happening." "Don't worry," Eleanor whispered, and I felt her pat my hand with mock sympathy. "I'll take good care of your boys. They'll call me Mommy. They'll never even remember you existed." Then she was gone, and I was screaming inside my silent prison, rage and terror mixing into something that felt like it would tear me apart from the inside. Days blurred together. I counted them by the shifts, by the meals the nurses mentioned during their checks, by the gradual changes in the quality of light I could somehow sense even through closed eyelids. Day 3. Victoria returned, this time with James and Eleanor in tow. They thought I couldn't hear. They were wrong. "The medical bills are astronomical," Victoria said. "And they'll only get worse the longer we keep her on life support. She's my wife, Mother." James sounded defensive but weak. "A wife who's already gone, darling. You heard the doctors. No brain activity. She's a shell." Victoria's voice dropped to a conspiratorial whisper. "And there's the matter of the life insurance. $2 million that could secure those babies' futures. Your future with Eleanor." Eleanor spoke up, her voice eager. "We could get a house in Brookline, near the good schools. Raise the boys properly. Twins are expensive," Victoria mused. "Especially when one has." She trailed off. "Has what?" James asked sharply. "The second baby, the one they took out after she coded. He has some markers for developmental delays. Nothing certain, but the pediatrician mentioned potential issues. Special needs care is extremely expensive." A long silence. Then James. "What are you suggesting?" "I'm not suggesting anything," Victoria said primly. "I'm simply stating facts. 2 babies might be overwhelming for a single father. But 1 healthy child? That's manageable. That's the Mitchell heir you always wanted." My soul was screaming. "Not my babies. Not my babies." "There are families," Victoria continued. "Good families, wealthy families who would pay handsomely for a newborn. Especially a white, healthy baby boy. Through private channels, of course. Completely legal. And the money could go into a trust for his brother. The stronger son. You want me to sell my son?" James's voice cracked. "I want you to be practical. 1 baby, $2 million in insurance money, and let's say another $500,000 from a private adoption. That's $2.5 million, James. Enough to start fresh with Eleanor, give your remaining son every advantage, and never worry about money again." "I can't." "You can. And you will. Because in a week, maybe 2, the doctors will tell you there's no hope for Sarah. They'll ask you to sign the papers. And when you do, when she's finally gone, all of this becomes simple." "What about the adoption?" Eleanor asked. "How would that even work?" I have a lawyer who handles these things discreetly, Victoria said. We could have it arranged within 30 days. The second baby goes to a lovely family in California. They'd never have contact with you, clean break, and you get to move forward with your life. I need to think, James said. Don't think too long, Victoria replied. The window for private adoption closes quickly. Newborns are precious commodities, and every day we wait is another day of medical bills draining your accounts. They left, and I lay there, a prisoner in my own body, unable to protect my children from the monsters who were supposed to love them. On day 7, Eleanor came alone. Late at night, during the shift change when the halls were quietest. She sat in the chair beside my bed. I heard her breathing, nervous and quick. I should feel guilty, she said finally. But I don't. Is that terrible? James is mine now. He always was really. You were just in the way. She shifted in her seat. He told me about your wedding night. How you cried because you were so happy. How you thought you'd found your soulmate. She laughed, bitter and sharp. Want to know where he was on your first anniversary? In my bed. In the apartment he pays for. Has been paying for since 6 months after you got married. The revelations kept coming, each one a knife in my paralyzed heart. He was with me the day you told him you were pregnant. Came straight to my place after, and actually cried. Said his life was over. Said he felt trapped. She paused. I almost left him then. But he begged me to stay. Promised that once the baby was born, once some time had passed, he'd find a way for us to be together. Eleanor stood up. Came closer. I felt her fingers on my face, tracing my features. You're actually pretty, she said, sounding surprised. I always imagined you as plain. Mousy. But you're not. Which makes me wonder, if you're this pretty and you still couldn't keep him, what does that say about you? She withdrew her hand. The babies are beautiful. I've been to see them in the nursery. The nurses think I'm a family friend. And I am in a way. I'll be their stepmother soon enough. Her voice hardened. Victoria wants to sell the second one, baby Logan. Says he's defective. I think it's cruel, but I also think, maybe she's right? Maybe it's kinder. Special needs kids are so much work. And if the money means James and I can start fresh. She was quiet for a moment. When she spoke again, her voice was softer, almost pleading. Tell me it's okay, she whispered. If you can hear me in there, somehow, some way, tell me it's okay that I'm taking your life. Tell me you understand. I couldn't. I could only listen and rage and plot what I would do if I ever woke up. When? Not if. When? Day 29. I counted every single one of them. 29 days of prison. 29 days of listening to my husband and his mistress and his mother plan my murder and the sale of my child. 29 days of fighting with every shred of consciousness I had left to find my way back to my body. On day 29, something changed. It started as a tingle in my finger. Just one finger. My right index finger. Then it spread, slowly, painfully slowly, through my hand. Up my arm. Across my chest. By noon, I could feel the ventilator tube in my throat. Could feel how much I hated it. Could feel my rage taking physical form. By evening, I could flutter my eyelids. The nurse on duty, Keisha, her name was Keisha, she was kind and talked to me like I was a person even when everyone else treated me like furniture. Noticed immediately. Dr. Flores, she called out. Dr. Flores, we have eye movement. Tests. So many tests. Lights in my eyes. Voices asking me to squeeze hands, move toes, track their fingers with my gaze. And I did it all. Every single thing they asked. By midnight, they'd removed the ventilator. I could breathe on my own. By 2 a.m. I could whisper. By dawn I could speak. The first words I said, "Where are my babies?" Dr. Flores was crying. "Mrs. Mitchell, this is unprecedented. You've been in a persistent vegetative state for nearly a month. This shouldn't be possible." "My babies," I repeated, my voice stronger. "I want to see my sons. They're healthy. They're perfect. We'll bring them to you soon." She gripped my hand. "Sarah, do you remember anything? From the coma?" I looked her straight in the eye. "Everything," I said. "I remember everything." The hospital security footage told quite a story. Eleanor's late-night visits. Victoria's meetings with a lawyer in the hospital cafe. A lawyer who, it turned out, specialized in illegal private adoptions. The heated arguments between James and his mother outside my ICU room. The police were very interested in that footage. So was my divorce attorney. So was Child Protective Services. James lost custody immediately. Victoria was charged as an accessory to attempted child trafficking. Eleanor was named as a co-conspirator. The lawyer, A man named Richard Sutton, who'd arranged 17 illegal adoptions over the past decade, faced federal charges. I named my sons Daniel and Logan. The doctors say Logan is perfect, by the way. No developmental delays. No defects. Just a beautiful, healthy boy who Victoria deemed merchandise she could sell. They're 3 years old now. They call me Mama. They've never met their father. He's serving 5 years for conspiracy and fraud. They've never met their grandmother. She got 10 years. And they've definitely never met Eleanor, who took a plea deal and disappeared into witness protection. As for me, I'm not the same woman who went into that hospital on October 15th. How could I be? I've been to hell. I've heard the people who were supposed to love me plot my death and the sale of my child. But I came back, and I made sure they all paid. Some people ask me if I believe in miracles. I tell them yes. My miracle was surviving long enough to hear the truth. The rest was just justice. Cold, calculated, and absolutely deserved. If you made it this far, thank you for listening to my story. Drop a comment below telling me what you would have done in my situation. And don't forget to subscribe for more shocking true stories every week. Until next time, remember, karma isn't just real. Sometimes it gets a little help.